Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel Crazy Coders. Today we will create a custom password generator using Python. So let's start. As always, let's first of all see the working of our code. For that I am running the Python file in my terminal. So as you can see, the terminal has been cleared and our code is running from the top of the terminal. And the first display message is enter number of alphabets. So it's asking me input. Let's enter 5. And on the second line, it's asking me enter number of numeric characters. Okay, let's enter 3. And on the third line, it's asking me enter number of special characters. So for that, I will enter 2. Okay, on the fourth line, it has generated a password. Let's check if it has followed all the conditions properly or not. So first, I entered 5 alphabets. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 alphabets are there in the password. Then let's count 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3. Yes, there are 3 numbers. And let's check two special characters. Yes, there is one bracket and there is this sign. So yes, our the password generator perfectly follows all the conditions. So as now we understood what we're gonna code. So let's start code. So let's create a Python file. Let's name it custom.py. For the first thing, let's define a function named custom pass with 3 arguments. Let's name it alpha, nums, and stars. Alphabets, a number of numeric characters, and special characters. For timing, let's keep it empty. Now let's call the function with this method underscore name is equal to main underscore. So as I already let you know what is this, so once more I am going to repeat this. There are two ways to execute this file. One is to import this function and the other way is to run the file. So both the ways entire code will execute, but when you import the function, this the code in this block will not be executed. So that's great. Now let's continue. The first thing we have to do is clear our terminal. For that we will use a function name system, which is an OS module. For that, let's import OS. So let's create some spaces there. Yes, os dot system cls. Okay, this what this does is just clears a terminal, makes our code run from the top. Now let's ask user input, that is first should be enter number of alphabets. That's now second input should be enter number of numeric characters, and third thing should be enter number of special right. Okay, I spelled wrong. special special characters. So let's store all these inputs in a variable named, first I will alpha, let's name it alpha, For this, let's name it nums. For this, let's name it schars. So since the Python only allows string input, so let's convert those string inputs into int. Let's do that. Okay, that's great. So now we have converted, we have asked the input and we have converted them into int. Let's call our function custom pass with three parameters: alpha, nums, and schars. So there is a list. Yes. Now, as we call the function, let's create a function. Let's define a function. So the first thing we'll do is let's create a string pass variable with empty string. It's an empty string. Later on, it will store a final password. So for now, the next variable we have to get is we have to create a variable a with all the alphabet characters that has to be included in password. So let's type them. That's great. Now let's b. So let's put the numeric characters in this variable. Now cb, let's show the special characters on the keyboard. So since we have created this variable, let's calculate the length of our password, which will be the sum of all the characters, which means alpha plus nums plus schars. So now let's create a list, named list of pass. It should contain empty elements for now, and now width of length. So what this will create is it will create a list of these elements of n length. So for suppose length is 5, so what will this do? This will create a string like this. This is first element, this is second element, this third, fourth, fifth. So if length is 5, then it will create this. If length is 6, then it will create this. So it will just create list of these elements of length n. So as now we understood, now let's create a list of indices. Let's create a list and name it indices. We will use for loop like index for index in range length. So now what this will do is it will create uh, indices list with index ranging from 1 to length. For example, if length is 10, so this list will contain elements like 1 2 3 4 up to 9. So it is basically storing the index of the numbers. So this will help us to like specify at which index what character we are inducing. Now let's we have to run three loops. That is, first loop is to enter the alphabets into our list pass. So on the second loop, to enter the numeric characters into our list of password, and schar, that is special characters, into the first. Let's run while loop with condition alpha not equal to 0. What this means is this loop will run until alpha is 0. And yes, so this means we will run this loop alpha times. If alpha is 4, we have to the loop will run 4 times, and it will induce 4. So it will induce 4 elements in our password, 4 alphabet characters in our password. So now let's code. First thing, let's generate a random number, random index basically. which we will do by choice function. We will pass choices, right? We'll pass choice, no, not choices, we will pass indices. Okay, so okay, let's import random module as well, only then it will work. So we have imported random module, and from the random module we are using a choice function which basically selects which basically takes list as a parameter, which basically takes list as a parameter and selects one of those elements randomly, which is in this case is the index. So is the index of indices contain 1 to length, right? So it will store a number between 1 to length. And now let's what we'll do, let's remove remove the, because only once we have to select a number, because if we select a particular index and we populate it with that, so we have to remove it. So once selected, once a particular number from the indices, that is index, list of index is selected, we have to remove it from that, right? So let's remove it. Now we have removed it from the index. We took one value from the index and then we remove it. So once we cannot get the same value again for that. So now let's and then we remove it. So once we cannot get the same value again for that. So now let's pass for this. Okay, list pass value of list pass at index this, at index num, which we have randomly chosen from our indices, which contains indexes, right? So now we have to assign it element from alphabet characters, that is which is variable a. So now let's do it. We will again use the choice method. Now let's pass it. So it will randomly select one of the alphabets and assign it to the variable, assign it to element at that index. Okay, school. Now yeah, that's it. Now we have to decrement, we have to decrement our counter by 1. So alpha is equal to alpha minus 1. That's great. Now let's do the same things. Let's do the same things with num as well. So here we should run this loop until now. Okay, now we have to decrement here nums. So what is basically this is, again takes, chooses one of the index from this indexes, because value cannot be repeated, because we are removing the element, the index which has been chosen randomly. So yeah, it cannot repeat. So a new, every time the choice will be unique, and after choosing it will remove, and after removing it will assign an element at that index from this list we have created to uh, to a random number from this element. So now since it is b, we have to change it to b. Now since it's numbers, right, we have stored in. So now in this case it's s char, s chars, and even we have to decrement s chars, s c h a r s chars minus 1, and here we should pass c. So since c is storing all the special characters, we are telling him to choose randomly from string of special characters. That's great. Now we have populated our password in the list, now let's convert that list into a string. For that we have already created a variable. Now let's use it. Now we will use a function named join, which is part of string class. String is a class, and join is a function. So it takes two parameters. One is by what you have to join, and second is the list. So it takes one element at a time and joins it with this. So I don't want anything between the first and second elements that has to be joined. So I'm just passing an empty string. But if you want to separate it by comma, then you can use it. Just basically separates all the values you want to join. So I don't want any separation, I want all of them to be together. That's why I just passed an empty string. So there is one more way to do it, that is string pass is equal to and the separator, which in this case is nothing. We have to, it takes one. So in this way you can pass whatever you want to separate, and then use a function and then pass only one parameter, which is list. So both ways works. I will use this. I'll comment this, and now let's return our string. Okay, that's great. Since we have only called, since it's a returning function, let's print the value. Okay, that's great. Now let's run the file. I think we have successfully created. Let's check for bugs. It's taking so much time. So yeah, the terminal has been cleared and it's asking me for input. Okay, so let's input 4. Let's input 4. Let's input 3 as a numeric characters, and let's input 1. So yes, it has generated a password. Let's check for conditions. Alphabets 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Check for numeric characters. It should be 3. That yes. So 3 numbers, and number of special characters 1, which is yes, only 1. So you have successfully created. You can add more condition. You can add the capital letters as well. So try and learn, do it yourself. Check for different, increase your difficulty. So as of this video we are done. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll catch you up in the next one.